How is it that most people never achieve what they're capable of when some people accomplish so much? What would your life look like if you could fully tap into your potential? What could you achieve in 6 months, 3 years, or 5 years if you performed every day at your best? That's what this book is all about. When we want to accomplish something great, we often assume we need more knowledge, but that's not entirely true. For example, most people know that to get in better shape, you need to eat less and exercise more. And yet, nearly 2 out of 3 adults in the US are overweight. We don't have a knowledge problem. We have an execution problem. This is The 12-Week Year by Brian P. Moran and Michael Lennington. It explains how to achieve life-changing results through consistent execution. Through their work with individuals and companies, the authors have developed a framework that increases your output by 4 times. It's been developed over the years through real-world testing and is supported by evidence from psychology and neuroscience. It shows how through changes to your planning and execution, you can get more done in 12 weeks than others do in 12 months. As the authors say, it's not what you know, it's not even who you know, it's what you implement that counts. There are 4 key insights from this book that really stuck with me. Firstly, we'll talk about the athletic training technique that inspired this framework. Secondly, redefining the year. Thirdly, the impact of an emotional connection. And finally, the execution system itself. So firstly, let's talk about periodization. It began as an athletic training technique designed to massively increase performance. It has 3 principles: focus, concentration, and overload on a specific skill. Rather than working on all the skills an athlete needs at once, they focus on one skill at a time for 4 to 6 weeks, and then they move on to the next skill. This technique was first implemented in the 1970s in preparation for the Olympics, and is still widely used today. Periodization doesn't just work in sports though. It can be used in any aspect of your life to improve your success. The 12-Week Year is a version of periodization designed to change how you think and act. It defines what's important to do today to achieve your long-term goals. Your results are an outcome of the actions you take, and those actions are just manifestations of your thinking. Therefore, when you change your thinking, everything changes. The result is more urgency and a clearer focus on those few activities that actually drive success. If you complete those actions daily, you're guaranteed to achieve your long-term objectives. The second key point from the book is redefining the year. Most people make their goals for next year at the end of the current year, and from that goal they'll make a loose plan on how they'll achieve it. Interestingly, the authors argue that these annual plans are actually a bad idea. There are many issues with annual plans, but the main one is that the deadline is too far away. If you get behind in January, you won't worry too much as you have a long time to catch up. This thinking continues until late into the year when it's too late to actually hit your goals. With a deadline that's so far away, we don't have the urgency to perform every day at our best. It's human nature to act differently when a deadline is looming. We procrastinate less and focus on what matters. But imagine if we could be like that all the time. To achieve this, the book suggests we redefine the year to just 12 weeks. This has 2 main benefits. Firstly, 12 weeks is long enough to get things done, but short enough that you have a sense of urgency. It's like having the focus that you get when you're pushing to meet a deadline or cramming for an exam all year round. And the second benefit is that it brings the New Year's excitement forward. If this year doesn't go to plan and you get derailed, you don't need to wait 6 to 10 months for the next one. You get a fresh start every 12 weeks. And just like at the end of the 12-month year, at the end of the 12-week year, you get a chance to take a break, celebrate, and recharge. And this reduced time frame helps to create urgency and keep you accountable. But the book has a second, more critical component, the key to creating almost unlimited motivation and focus. That brings me to the third key point of the book, the emotional connection. The authors suggest that to stay highly accountable, you need an emotional investment in your actions. They say that the best way to do this is to tie your short-term actions to a vision of your future, a dream that includes both your professional and personal goals. I'm not going to lie to you, I struggled to get to grips with this concept initially, but the book eventually convinced me. This resistance is also widespread amongst Type A people. We tend not to believe in visions, mood boards, or anything like that. We see them as fluffy and unscientific, and I'll be the first to admit that I was firmly in this camp, but the authors convinced me with these 2 points. Firstly, when you have to choose between a comfortable action or an uncomfortable one, it's human nature to want to choose comfort. How often have you skipped the gym because of bad weather? If you've got no emotional stake in the outcome, it's too easy to prioritize your comfort over your goals. To achieve at a higher level than you are now, you need to have a way to prioritize actions over your short-term comfort. You must have such a powerful vision of your future that you can ignore your short-term discomfort. Behind every impossible achievement is a dreamer of impossible dreams. Robert K. Greenleaf. This argument began to convince me, but then the book explains the science. When facing uncertainty about your future, a part of your brain, the amygdala, reacts negatively. The amygdala is helpful when avoiding danger and staying alive, but not when trying to grow and improve our lives. The second you start thinking about something risky or uncertain, the amygdala will try to shut that down to stop you from doing something dangerous. But there is a counterbalance to the amygdala, the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is involved in goal-oriented behavior. Scientists have proven that there's an increase in activity in your prefrontal cortex when you think about a compelling future. Studies have also proven that your brain can change, even as an adult. This is called neuroplasticity. Your brain actually changes depending on how you use it. So, by regularly thinking about your compelling future, aka your vision, you strengthen that part of your brain. And that then makes it easier to act on that vision. And if you can consistently act on it, you'll eventually achieve it. But a vision without a plan is just a pipe dream. And that is where the final point comes in, the execution system. This system is how you turn these ideas into a weekly routine that guarantees success. There are 4 elements to the system. The first is how we create and use the vision we just discussed. To start, you write down a vision for your life 5 to 15 years in the future. Try to focus on these 7 key areas: physical, spiritual, mental, relationships, financial, professional, and personal. Then look at this every day at the start of your day. I've been doing this by having it at the top of my daily plan, which is a Notion template I made to help me complete the 12-week year. I look at my daily tasks and I naturally glance at my vision. I would never have thought I'd be into something like this. It naturally goes against my personality, but it is definitely helping me to stay motivated right from the get-go each morning. It reminds me why I've dragged myself out of bed, why I'm working, and what I want to achieve. The second element of the execution system is your 12-week goals and tactics. These are your actual plans. You look at your vision, and from there, create a slightly shorter term goal, 3 to 5 years in the future. Then set 1 to 4 goals for the upcoming 12-week period that align with your medium-term vision. From there, you create weekly and daily actions, aka tactics, that will get you to that goal. Doing this gives you a simple plan that breaks down every action you need to take to achieve your goals. It sounds simple, and honestly it's because it is. But having a clear plan for the next 12 weeks stops me from jumping from idea to idea. When you work on your own, it's so easy to get distracted and try to work on 100 ideas at once. You start one idea and everything's great, but then it gets tricky, so you quit and try something else. And if you keep doing that, you never really make progress on any one idea. To stop this, you need the third element of the system, controlling the process. There are 3 elements to this: the weekly plan, peer support, and progress measures. Your weekly plan is just the actions from your 12-week plan that are due this week, and your daily plan is just the actions that are due that day. These plans don't include everything you need to do that day or week, just the actions that drive you closer to your goal. I look at my plan each morning and then do those tasks first. I then leave time later in the day for any other tasks that I need to do with buffer blocks. That gives me a clear idea of where to focus. But the second point has made the biggest difference to me so far: peer support. The 12-week year mostly focuses on teams in business, so they have weekly accountability meetings, or WAMs, set each Monday. These quick 15-minute meetings help support you and help you to hold yourself accountable. But that's hard when you work on your own, which is why I set up a Discord server for anyone doing my 12-week year challenge. We meet on Mondays and do an accountability meeting. Knowing that I need to attend that meeting and report back on my progress gives me that little push I need to stay on track. And if that would be helpful to you, there's a link to join for free in the description. At the end of the week, you should take some time to review your progress. Work out what went well and what didn't. This will help you to avoid the same mistakes next week. To understand your progress, you need to be able to measure it. This is where the 4th element in the execution system comes in. This element is confronting the truth. There's a common misconception that scoring someone damages their self-esteem, but research shows the opposite. It builds self-esteem and confidence as it documents progress and achievement. And achievement is one of the top motivators in the workplace, according to a study in the 1940s. Tracking your performance with numbers stops you from rationalizing poor performance. We've all done it. We underperform and then find a reason because it's easier than confronting the truth. While it can be tough, keeping score makes us focus on performance rather than comfort. At the end of the week, calculate a completion percentage for each of your weekly actions. Last week, for example, I completed almost all of my actions. I got 100% on my content and no alcohol actions, but missed 1 gym workout, which led to an 86% completion score on my exercise goal. When you add these up and divide by the total, I get a total score of 96% for the week. Tracking this each week helps to know if you're actually on track. The author's studies find that a score above 85% is what you need to aim to hit to achieve excellence. This might be my favorite part of the system. Knowing that skipping something that day will impact my score is usually enough to get me off the sofa and doing what I need to do, even if I don't want to. Life is hectic and full of distractions. Full of reasons not to do something that's hard but important. Full of reasons to choose the comfortable path. The great thing about the 12-week year is it makes it easy to choose the uncomfortable path. Most of us have 2 lives, the lives we live and the lives we're capable of. If we can control our actions today, we can achieve the life that we're capable of. Thank you so much for watching.